Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're focusing in on an important way to understand narcissism and psychopathy, and that is looking at the compulsive need for power or control over others as essentially a compulsion or an addiction. And the root meaning of an addiction is essentially it's a situation or condition characterized by compulsive engagement in rewarding stimuli despite adversive consequences. So, an addiction is a compulsion. It's something that one is powerless over. It is something that essentially is driving the organism or the individual despite adversive consequences. So, for the narcissist, we can look at this compulsion, this chronic state of needing to be better than, superior to others, in the limelight, in the spotlight, center stage, having all eyes on them, essentially as a compulsive need to be in control or control others. And despite aversive consequences, so despite the fact that they are ruinous in relationships, despite the fact that they injure others and they cause others harm, disregard, cause them to oftentimes dismantle their own life purpose for satisfying their narcissistic needs, for satisfying their psychopathic needs, despite the fact that they are harshly judgmental and cause others emotional scarring, they are addicted to the need to be in power. They have an addiction, a compulsive need, an insatiable need, which means that which is not ever quenched or satisfied, an insatiable need to control or have power over others. So when we look at this addictive quality, we need to understand that once you understand this, it is quite liberating and freeing for those people who have been targeted or associated with many of these people. Some people are surrounded by many of these people. Some people are surrounded by a select few or find themselves repeatedly attracted to these individuals. And we're going to do a video here in a little while of why we tend to attract these same type of individuals into our inner circle, because of this is habituated and we have a role essentially that is created in our DNA that allows these people to be attracted to our lives, and also furthermore who we are attracted to. So yes, you can reset this through higher awareness and through higher transcendence. You can realize the mechanism and the dynamic in the system that is going on, and you can override this, if you will. You can clean the internal software. You can clean that guiding system, which will help you become aware of the why, the origin, the foundation, the cause, the driving system which has set this in place, and you can override that. So you can essentially experience a breakthrough or a metamorphosis, a personal breakthrough, a kind of a coming out of abuse, if you will, a kind of breaking through of why this has occurred in your life. And then you can open up the doors and the floodgates to understanding this, and then realizing that you have the ability to attract health and vitality and different types of people who are more validating, less judgmental, and not this same type of individual. So that is for our future repertoire here. But I want to focus in right now on for you to use the cognitive tool of reframing. And a reframing is to look at things in a new way. So it's like a new format. If I were to take a frame or a picture and to put a new frame on it, I could make it look very modern. I could make it look very classic. I could make it look very futuristic with different metallics or multiple dimensions. We could have it look very rustic with open wood, exposed wood. So that is a frame, correct? So likewise, our perception is also a tool of a frame. So know that this is very intensive psychological work, but it's very, very important, and it's a very sort of personal growth strategy for you to use when you use the tool of cognitive reframing to look at the narcissist. So we want to get away from the judgment and the labels and things of this nature. But if you can now start to understand that the narcissist, through the tool of cognitive reframing, you can understand that they have a compulsion, an addiction, a need, an insatiable need to be the one in the one who is garnishing the attention, the admiration, the limelight, the center stage, the spotlight, the one who is, keeping that hierarchy in place. So, big sister-itis, narcissist-itis, superior-itis, whatever you want to call it, egomania, whatever you want to call it, realize that this oftentimes functions as an addiction, a compulsion for them. So, like Sam Vatkin states, the narcissist has an insatiable need to have power or control over others and to be superior to others. So even though you might not feel that way in your internal DNA, your internal emotions, realize that this other individual, perhaps who you are thinking about right now, who you're seeking to recover from, who you're seeking to understand, and not just understand them, but you're trying to understand yourself and how you interact with this type of person, how you cope, and how you really emerge a better person, how you transmute a better energy after interacting with them, is to understand and to heal at your deepest core of your being, is to understand that this person in essence is an addiction, has an addiction. They are an active addict to feeling superior. They are addicted to being superior, having power, and treating others with disdain, lack of empathy, that whole ball of wax that we have described here on the channel, that encompasses the many behavioral and manipulative traits that identify this type of individual. So just as you would see an alcoholic, just as you were to see an alcoholic perhaps who is laying in the street with a bottle in their hand, passed out, that would not be your fault, correct? You might feel an empathy and try to help this person, maybe pull them out of the street so they wouldn't get run over. But furthermore, you were not the cause of their alcoholism, correct? If you were just to see, a stranger, a passerby, and see this, you would, that what I'm trying to get you to understand is that this would not be your fault, correct? So likewise, the narcissist in your life who is suffering from this addiction, which is this compulsive engagement in the need to be superior to be better than, to be in control of others, and furthermore, lacking empathy, which meaning, regardless of who they're hurting, this adversive stimuli, so it's adversive, meaning it is contrary to health or contrary to information that they're receiving. So adverse consequences. So even though they're getting backlash from others, just like the addict is getting adversive stimuli, they might be losing their home, their family, their bank account, their health is suffering, but they're still keeping on with their addiction. Okay, so I'm trying to give you a cognitive reforming tool so you can see it kind of analogous, how the analogies kind of work together here. There's a very tight similarity, which if you can grasp this, I think it'll be very liberating for you. If you can understand that this individual who is suffering from a character disorder of narcissism with a heightened inflative sense of self coupled with a lack of empathy, that they have an addiction to this, which manifests in a myriad of ways, which perhaps you have identified and experienced, that this person, because of their addiction, they oftentimes do not feel at a need to change. So just as the addict, because they're so caught up in their addiction, as Napoleon Hill says, the drink is drinking them. In the example of the alcoholic, so they're no longer drinking the drink. The drink is drinking them. They are powerless over alcohol. Likewise, the narcissist is powerless over their compulsion to stealing the spotlight, stealing the limelight, shifting everything off of you, putting it back on them, even though it would be absolutely the right and normal thing to listen to you, have empathy, have open ears, open heart, open mind, and receive where you're coming from. From a narcissist standpoint, they are addicted. They are still caught up in their internal compulsive need to have it be all about them, all about them, all about them, and they're not growing. They're not growing in their understanding of humanity. They're not growing in really their internal personal growth. I would say what we call transformation or evolution, where you are evolving. You are becoming a more refined person. You're becoming a more refined character as you're able to release the self-limiting beliefs and self-limiting, it's all about me. Because as you can open up those walls, you create a bridge, and it creates a broadening and an energetic sort of acceptance, and it allows you to get along with more people and of people of different levels. And it's not a victimizing energy, because the narcissists, they operate on a victimizing energy. So if they can victimize, make somebody less than, that's an adverse consequence. So someone is paying the price for their being superior. However, this is very interesting stuff. So as you can realize, they cannot let that go. So if you are still caught up on the cycle of wondering, why me? What is wrong with me? You have to kind of release that question. Stop asking that question, because that question is not ever going to be answered. It's not going to bring you to healing. The better question to ask yourself is, how can I embrace my healing now while I'm with this individual? And to answer that for you is to realize that, use the cognitive tool of reframing and say, I see furthermore that this individual is an addict, and I have to let them go. They're going to have to learn the lessons of acceptance for themselves, and they're going to have to learn to furthermore get control over their narcissistic ways. It is not up to me to be responsible for their evolution. That is going to have to be up to them. So I'm going to have to let them go. I'm releasing them and let them go. It's not my burden to live up to their standards or to be their supply. I'm now releasing it. I'm now, disengaging from it. And as a wonderful client said to me, I have to chop down the entire tree from the seed that was planted from this toxicity or this pathology that has then spread into this large tree that has created a whole series or a whole network of flying monkeys, in essence. And as we know, it's easier to go along with a narcissist or psychopathic and just, feed into that cycle versus, claiming and standing up for what is right. It's easier just to, I'll just let it go. I'll just, give in. I'll concede. I'll acquiesce. It takes, a lot of kahunas to be able to stand up and to, change the tune, change the scenery, change really the dynamic which is gone on, especially if there's a matriarch or patriarch of the family who has created that, especially if there's narcissism running deep in families or even communities. And so if I hope that you can understand that this is an addiction, which is essentially the narcissist is powerless over their desire or their need to change that. And so furthermore, it keeps you really understanding that this is not anything that you can change in them, but you can stop being a supply. You can stop feeding that addiction. You can unplug and say, I am free. I am me. I love me. I love being independent. And furthermore, I don't feel alone being independent. I don't feel isolated being my own person with these people. I am liberated, and I now rely on myself. I now am experiencing, even though it feels uncomfortable, even though this strength is empowerment. This is my personal power that I'm stepping into. Even though this feels like aloneness, even though this feels like isolation, I'm actually stepping into my personal power. And as I do this, I'm now showing self-acceptance, which now begins to resonate furthermore with the rest of the world and the universe. And the universe is going to catch up to me, and they're going to now see that I'm operating from that personal power, and they're going to reflect that back to me. And now furthermore, I'm going to attract more people, others, and circumstances that validate my personal power and not that cycle of narcissistic abuse. It's very intensive. I hope you can get that last little bit and allow that to reflect and allow that to play again and again, because as soon as you can own that personal power and own it, claim it, be committed to it, you will begin to step into it and own it, and then use that tool of cognitive reframing to, instead of saying, I am so alone, I feel so isolated, say, I am so independent, I am so free, I am liberated, I am in my personal power, and I rely on myself. I am self-dependent here, and I can claim that and own that, and that is actually my grace moving forward in life, and I accept that, and I embody that now. And as you allow yourself to accept that and walk through that, and don't allow that to be feeling isolating, don't allow that to isolate you, don't allow that to cause you to feel alone, allow that to be, really, it's the leader within you that is stepping forth. It is your personal power that is now coming into your body. It is actually very healing energy. It is actually vibrancy. It is actually light. It is actually radiance that's now stepping into you that was not allowed to be created and manifest and generated earlier in your life due to narcissistic or psychopathic influences. That was shut out. That was not allowed to exist, that higher vibration of unconditional love, of independence, of leadership, of innovation, of creativity, of going out there, of being at the helm, of being the captain. It is that experience which you need to allow to manifest within your life, and allow furthermore, which that is really what drives you into the quantum field of new possibility and potential. So it is actually that sort of feeling like I'm, on the Titanic, like I'm at the helm. I'm, that girl who's up there, at the front of the ship, steering the maiden voyage. It very much feels like, I would say, a maiden voyage. And even though that it's, new and uncharted waters. So it's, I think a lot of people do feel uncomfortable. They do feel alone. They do feel isolated. But realize this experience that you're feeling is you stepping into your personal power. It's you stepping into your best energy. It is you stepping into your grace. It is you stepping into your higher awareness, and it is you actually connecting to the alignment of your body, mind, and spirit. And it is this claiming of your personal power that allows you to walk a little taller. It allows you to keep your head up high. It allows you to stop looking at your feet and grumbling and shuffling. It is that which allows you to dance lightly and not be worried about your steps. You know that you've got the choreography. You know you have your steps down. You know where to put your feet. You know where to put your hand. You know where to put your smile, because it is that which is glowing effortlessly from you, because you're in your personal power. And so allow that to emanate and experiment with that. Use that power and allow that to take you to new places. That's the whole goal of recovery and coming at the other side of narcissistic or psychopathic abuse, is that you allow it to take you to new places, experience new heightened experiences, emotionally, physically, financially, however you wish it to manifest. Is really you at the helm. And allow it to take you new places, whether it's travels, whether it's making new relationships, creating new opportunities for yourself, creating new talents, giving yourself a chance to bud out, budding out, which means branching out, experiencing your talents. So in other words, now that I'm no longer limited, I am now going to ... Now that I'm no longer limited, I'm going to ... I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. Now that I'm no longer under the captive, now that I'm no longer captive under this harsh judgment or this narcissistic abuse, I'm going to pursue this. And then you have to fill in the blanks. That is tapping into your creativity. That is tapping into your solution-oriented mind, which you need to live in more and more frequently, because when you live in the solution, you're going to find that the solution shows up. If you keep focusing on the problem, you're just going to stay stuck in the problem. So as you continue to focus on the solution and live in the solution, you're going to find more and more that the solution is going to find you, and you're actually stepping into a state of profound growth and personal peace. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.